Call to order, Town of Prescott Valley Regular Town Council Meeting, June 9th, 2022. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Kinsinger.
Present.
Councilmember Dickinson.
Here.
Councilmember Hepperly. Not here. Councilmember Schumacher.
Present.
Councilmember Packard.
Present.
Vice Mayor Hunt.
I'm here.
Mayor Polguda.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. I'd like to invite down Chaplain Jerry Ferguson with the Prescott Valley Police Department to do our invocation. Welcome, sir.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we thank you for the privilege of acknowledging you as Lord. Your word says, the eyes of the Lord are on those who fear him, on those whose hope is in his unfailing love. Your word also says there is no authority except that which you have established. Thank you, Father, for establishing this council and town leadership, and for the wisdom you give them as they faithfully lead our town. Should we lack wisdom, your word says that all we need to do is ask, and you will provide it without belittling us. Thank you, Lord, for the many volunteers who are committed to serving our town, and not just our town, but for all the other organizations serving our community. Thank you for the protection you provide our first responders as they respond to the many challenges and dangers of our community. Father, help us as responsible citizens to do all we can to serve one another willingly and productively to the best of our abilities. We submit this time and this meeting to you, O God, to accomplish that which pleases you and benefits us. I offer this, my prayer to you, our Lord and our Savior. Amen.
Amen. Join us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Item 3, call to the public. At this time, members of the public may comment on matters listed on the agenda or solely on matters within the jurisdiction of the town. Any persons wishing to address the council must complete a speaker card located inside the entrance of the council chambers and deliver it to the town clerk prior to the commencement of the meeting. The council's response is limited to criticism, asking staff to review a matter commented upon, or asking that a matter be put on a future agenda. Such remarks shall be limited to 3 minutes unless additional time is granted by the mayor. Clerk.
Mr. Tom Chase.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. This is my 4th meeting in 2 months. I've been coming to all of them, and I told you I would because I'm not giving up on that.
Mr. Chase, could you use the microphone, please?
Sorry. How about now? Add 15 seconds to my time. Mr. Packard, I'd like to thank you for personally coming to my house. I really appreciated it as far as that. I would also like to thank the chief because we have been having patrol in front of our house. So we really appreciate that, and my street appreciates it. Okay? I had a person, is it going or not?
Not really.
You can hear me. I had a personal meeting with Norm Davis. He dropped off some petitions for us to fill out through the neighborhood. That was Thursday, before the last council meeting. My wife started on them on Saturday, had them all done. I gave them back to Norm on Wednesday. Okay? So the neighborhood wants it to happen as far as speed bumps. Okay? I also had a face-to-face with Fernando, and we talked about some of my concerns, his concerns, but it's still up on the road to nowhere to be built. Nobody has a date for it. Nobody goes on. We're at the mercy of Jasper to do it, okay? There's an easy fix to it. Don't give them any more permits till they start, because the economy will start going down. My personal opinion, probably within 6 to 8 months, and you're already seeing it with higher interest rates and the housing market. So those guys aren't going to do anything when it comes time to ante up to put the road in. So I think you guys need to put a little bit of pressure on them, because they're the ones using the roads along with the town councils before, have caused the problem, okay? I know we're going to get our road repaved, okay? Jasper and Granville should be paying a lot of it instead of the taxpayers, because it's their people that are traveling on that road, okay? Today, my wife and I are sitting in our dining room after lunch. All of a sudden, I look out, I can't see anything out my window. It's a manufactured house going north, coming down Prescott East Highway, 48-footer, okay? And of course, they had the truck on the behind it with all the flashing lights and wide load. So I went outside to see where it was going, because we have manufactured house in our neighborhood. I have nothing against them. No, it kept going. It was cutting through because it was keep on going through the cutoff to Jasper.
Thank you, sir. Clerk?
Cindy Chase.
Welcome, ma'am.
Hello. I was the one that took these pamphlets, petitions, whatever you want, up and down our street. I believe each one of you got a copy of them. You should have, because I emailed them to everybody and CC'd everyone. These people asked me to speak for them. They said that you guys have literally turned their lives into a living hell. From 6 o'clock in the morning till all hours of the night, there is no peace. They can't open their windows. They can't open their doors for the exhaust and the noise pollution. I had a man tell me that, in fact, I physically saw this gentleman, older man, probably 80 years old. At first, he didn't want to sign the petition on the one side of the road. So I said, not a problem. I went ahead, I went around. I had every one of my petition, or every one of the signatures, by the way, approved. Speed humps, not because they like them, but to detour some of the traffic from Granville and Jasper. You guys got another 500 houses coming. If every if every house has 2 cars, that's 1,000 more cars on our road. You guys don't seem to acknowledge this. You don't live it. Well, this poor man, by the time I got around to the side, he was waiting for me in the median. He says, I'll sign that petition. I physically watched that man walk out in the middle of the street to stop the cars so his wife could back out of the driveway. He says, I did this every day. I just automatically felt like it was the norm anymore. He said, until you brought it to my attention, I didn't realize that what I was doing was completely asinine. And he says, and I'm tired of having to do that. And this goes on, and like I said, I know that you got the petitions. I know everybody around here got petitions. They were all signed. Everybody wants something done. On corner of Sunset and East Prescott Highway, the lady says, I've lived here 6 months. I've had 2 wrecks in my front yard. Do any of you people have to deal with this on a daily basis? I mean, when you got to back out of your driveways, do you get honked at? Do you get flipped off? Do you get almost body slammed? Because all you want to do is get on the road to go from point A to point B, just like the people are doing from Granville and from Jasper. Just because it's a low economy area doesn't mean it's not going to revitalize. We lived in over a $500,000 house in California, and people are saying, why did you move here? We moved here because of the pace. Thank you.
Clerk?
I have no one else.
Thank you, ma'am. Moving on, item 4, council communications. Councilwoman Dickinson, would you like to start us off?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. We have a number of things to talk about this week. Movies Under the Stars summer series has started at the Civic Center Amphitheater, and they started Saturday, May 28th at Mountain Valley Splash Swimming Pool, and they continue the next 3 weeks at the Civic Center Amphitheater. and they begin at 8 p.m. Again, those are on Saturday. And also, the Yavapai College concerts on the green return to Prescott Valley Civic Center. And to sign up and purchase tickets for those concerts, you would go to the website, ycpac.com. If you are looking for something cool, someplace to be during this hot weather, this coming weekend, June 11th at 6:05, the Wranglers will be playing with the Arizona Rattlers, and they'll be playing here for the next couple of weeks. Another thing, we have been involved with the fentanyl work study group here in Prescott Valley, and we've joined forces with Matt Force, and on June 23rd, from 6:30 to 7:30, they are having a virtual reality demonstration with Walmart to discuss opioid overdose reversal. And they will be demonstrating the use of this Naxalone, and this Naxalone is available for anyone to have in their homes to counteract the possibility of children 12 years on up experimenting with a pill. It takes only one pill. And if you have this on hand, it's like a nose spray. You are able to administer it yourself, and they will be demonstrating this at this virtual reality. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Hi, everybody. I want to give a big shout out to Christy Jones, who organized our Relay for Life. Although she wasn't there, she was in the hospital, she did all the beginning work, and we all know that that's probably more important than the actual day. So she did a great job. I think they more than met their goal, and my husband got to do the Survivor Walk, and so I'm really proud of him for that. And then Sunday night and Monday, I was down in Scottsdale. I represented the council at a chamber retreat because I'm on the Prescott Valley Chamber of Commerce board. And we have a great board, and we have a lot of energy, and we're going to do some good things this year. I'd like to give a shout out to the library. 6F is a $3,000 grant for citizen science kits to go for our kiddos. And 6G is very near and dear to my heart. It's another $3,000 grant $4,000 for Spark, a conversation memory kits to go, and is actually subject matter related to memory loss, Alzheimer's, and dementia, cognitive impairments, aging, and caregiver resources. And so my dad had a touch of dementia, and I'm really glad that our library is providing services to those impacted with dementia and Alzheimer, and also for caregivers, as I was his caregiver for over 4 years. Our next illegal fentanyl working group is July 13th in this room at 4 p.m. Everybody is welcome to that. I'd like to give a shout out again to my husband, Dean Hunt. Today was his last day of official work. So he is officially retired tomorrow, and he retired from the Humboldt Unified School District after about 4 years with them, and I'm really proud of him. And so now I'm going to give him some lists at home. And then finally, I would like to thank everybody for all their condolences, prayers, and cards and well wishes for my family and I as we lost my dad last Friday to a bad fall and him breaking his shoulder. So I'm really happy for him that he's in heaven and he's there with Mom, who he missed for over 4 years. So anyway, thank you. Prescott Valley is really a family, and I'm feeling all the love. So.
Thank you, ma'am. Just a reminder, this June 23rd will be our last council meeting in basically for, I don't know, probably 5 weeks. We won't have council in July. So just put that on your calendar. Councilman? All right, moving on. Consent agenda. All matters listed under consent agenda are considered routine by the town council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately for discussion and possible action. Council, we've all had a chance to review. If you'd like to remove an item, now is the time. If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent calendar by electronic vote.
I second it.
Clerk, please call the vote.
That passes unanimously, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 7, new business, new Series 12 liquor license, Azteca Grill, consideration and possible action. This is a public hearing, which I'm opening up right now. Clerk?
This is an application for a Series 12 liquor license for Azteca Grill, now located at 8164 East Spouse Drive. A notice of public hearing was posted at the location for 20 consecutive days, and our office did not receive any pro or con recommendations or statements. At this time, if you've reviewed the application, we can forward the recommendation to approve the liquor license for this new location. They just moved down this, to the next building.
Gotcha. Is there anyone out in the audience that would like to comment on this? That being said, I'll close the public hearing, and I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to recommend approval of a Series 12 liquor license for Azteca Grill by electronic vote.
I'll second.
Clerk, please call the vote.
That passes unanimously, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Moving on, item 7B, minor general plan amendment, GPA 22-001, Coyote Creek, consideration and possible action. Mr. Gonzalez, welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. My deepest condolences to you, Vice Mayor. This is an application for a general plan amendment and zoning map change for Coyote Creek. It is actually located maybe off of 89A and, oh, there it is. Off of 89A and North County Trail Road. It actually consists of 326 acres. They're proposing I apologize, it consists of 122 acres. It's 326 single-family home units. The density, the current density, I'm having problems with this.
Point it more to the computer.
I'm sorry?
Point the remote to the computer more.
Oh, will that work?
See if that works. And while you're doing that, also, folks, this is a public hearing. We're opening it up.
Thank you. Actually, this is going to be, I'm just going to stay here. It's the density that's showing as part of the general plan amendment. It is currently a 711, which is a rural zoning designation. We're asking for residential or low residential for that, and that's going to be complementary to the zoning map change that we're proposing. The zoning map change is currently RCU 70, which is a placeholder when we annex that property into the Town of Prescott Valley, and we're looking for our R1L zoning district. There are a number of districts that are shown. If I had the slide up, you can see it goes from 5,000 square feet all the way to 1 acre parcels. And as you can see, and there's the zoning designation. Next slide. Nope, before that. And as you can see, there are actually changes. The one before that. That one there. And you can see where the different designations for the density districts, it goes from 5,000, 7,000, 10,000 to actually acre parcels. The next slide is actually going to show, if we have it, there. We're going to go with that slide. And you can see where the different sizes are. You can see the different colors where it shows. If I had a pointer, I can show you where the 1 acre parcels are. And we are going to be looking at, actually, that slide shows landscaping. This actual subdivision is going to have a lot of open space, trails. Well, we're going to have a final development plan before you in the near future, and we'll have traffic reports in regards to that and other studies that will be done, but this is looking at like a really nice subdivision. We'll have street sidewalks on both sides, but again, all that information will be provided to you at the final development plan stage. At this time, staff is recommending approval of the amendment to the general plan and the zoning map change, and would be happy to answer any questions you would have at this time.
Council, we have anything for Mr. Gonzalez?
I do, sir.
Vice Mayor?
Mr. Mayor Fernando, the reason why this qualifies for a minor is because of the minimal acreage and the downzoning, correct?
That is correct, and the number of lots itself. It doesn't go over a certain threshold. It's
Right.
only,
And the definition of PAD is planned area development. And so what that means is it's the ability to transfer densities throughout the site, and that's why the different sizes and to form the one big community.
that is correct.
So I would like to thank Dorn, if you're here.
We have some representatives here, I believe.
I would like to thank you guys for this development. I'm hoping that some of the smaller lots could be more lower than market rate if possible. I'm just putting that out here. And I also want to thank you for your support of the Humboldt Unified School District through the Humboldt Education Foundation on the project down at Bradshaw. And I'm hoping, I know you guys will be supportive on this one too. So I seriously appreciate that because our kiddos need it. And I love the open space and the trails. It looks great. I couldn't tell if there was a pool or not. There was
Doesn't
one
it-
picture, but I didn't see anything blue. Can you go to that slide?
I don't see it on there. But we can talk about that at the final development
Okay,
stage and see if we
perfect.
can talk them into a pool.
And also, because this is a public hearing, does anyone out in the public have comments in regards to this item? Okay, seeing none. Council, we have any other questions or comments for the developer's representative, or Mr. Gonzalez?
Nope.
Not, I will close the public hearing. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to authorize the mayor or the vice mayor in his absence to sign resolution number 2022-2258, approving a minor amendment to the general plan 2025 GPA 22-001 for Coyote Springs development by electronic vote.
Can I have a second?
I'll
Second.
second.
Oh,
Clerk, please call the vote.
That passes unanimously, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Gonzalez, you just want to keep going?
Yes, sir. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, this is the zoning map change 2201 for Silver Creek Silver Living Facility. It's located on Windsong Drive. It's about 800 feet north of Lakeshore Drive. As you can see, the zoning map change
Hang on,
is
hang on. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Are we on item 7C?
7C is the ordinance
Yes.
reading for it.
Okay,
Can we entertain a motion?
we'll need a motion for that.
I'd like to make a motion to read ordinance number 2022-908, approving zoning map change ZMC 22-003 by title only on two separate occasions, and then place the same on final passage by electronic vote.
I'll second.
Clerk, please call the vote.
That passes unanimously.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ordinance number 2022-908. An ordinance of the mayor and common council of the Town of Prescott Valley, a municipal corporation of Arizona, amending the town zoning map CMC 22-003 by changing the zoning classification of an approximately 122-acre parcel located within the Town of Prescott Valley boundaries at the northeast corner of State Route 89A and North County Fair Trail from RCU 70 to R1L PAD, residential single-family limited planned area development, including density districts 5, 7, 10, and 35, with parcel number 401-01-113M, and providing that this ordinance shall be effective 30 days after its passage and approval according to law.
Thank you, ma'am. Now on item 7D, sir.
Thank you. The zoning map change is actually in hopes of accommodating a senior living facility located on Windsong Drive, about 800 feet north of Lakeshore Drive. We did have a neighborhood meeting that was conducted. There was no opposition to that meeting. It also will have a memory care system in place. We do have a rendition of the property as it states. It is in conjunction with our general plan as it is now. Staff at this time would recommend the approval of the zoning map change and would happy to answer any questions you would have.
This is also a public hearing, which is open right now. Vice Mayor?
I don't know if the developer's here. Maybe not. Okay, so the architecture's great. I like the different colors. It looks good. Stephen, I don't see the 2%, since we're changing it from commercial to residential, even though this is a quasi-commercial use.
Mr. Judy, you might want to be able to add in on that as well.
Normally we put the 2% when there are rentals, apartment rentals.
Okay.
Not a commercial venture such as this. This is more of a.
Because it's quasi-commercial. That's what I
Quasi-commercial.
thought, but I wasn't for sure.
Correct, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any comments from the public in regards to this matter? No? Council, we have anything else for Mr. Gonzalez in reference to this? Similar property is directly across the street, correct?
That is correct. And most of the time I drive by, I don't see many cars there, but it is open and functioning.
Thank you, sir. Council, if there's no other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to read ordinance number 2022-907, approving zoning map change ZMC 22-001 by title only on 2 separate occasions, then place the same on final passage by electronic vote.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Clerk, please call the vote.
Councilmember Packard? That passes unanimously, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 7E, zoning map.
Ordinance-
I'm sorry, go ahead and read it. I apologize.
Ordinance number 2022-907, an ordinance of the mayor and common council of the Town of Prescott Valley, a municipal corporation of Arizona, amending the town zoning map CMC 22-001 to change the zoning classification of an approximately 4-acre parcel located on the east side of Windsong Drive, approximately 800 feet south of Lakeshore Drive, from C1 PAD, Commercial Neighborhood Sales and Services Planned Area Development, zoning to RSPAD, Residential and Services Planned Area Development zoning, and providing that this ordinance shall be effective 30 days after its passage and approval according to law.
Thank you, ma'am. Moving on, item 7E, zoning map change, ZMC 22-002, Robert Road, duplexes, consideration of possible action. Mr. Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. This application for a multifamily consists of 2 parcels located on the corner of Dana and Robert Road. We had this go before commission. There was a number of changes to this parcel. We were going to initially join the 2 parcels together and do a 6-plex there. Unfortunately, the parking or the situation backing out into Robert Road was an issue. We took it back and revised the site plan, and we're just putting 2 duplexes on the property. The applicant is asking for us to rezone the property from C1 Neighborhood Service Commercial to RS Residential Services in hopes of putting those duplexes on the property. It is in conjunction or conforms to our general plan as it is. The neighborhood services, they did have a meeting. There was no opposition at this time. This property has been on the market for over 17 years. Commercial location at these 2 because of the size of the lot. So it's hard to conform to the standards, so this would be a better use of the property. Staff at this time is recommending approval of the zoning map change, and be happy to answer any questions you would have.
This is also a public hearing. Mr. Gonzalez, can you go back to your drawing? Are those your notes on there, or are those
No, those are the developer's
applicants?
notes. The applicant's notes, yes.
Okay. So just confirming, though, they're still going to be backing out onto Robert Road. Is that what we're saying?
Unfortunately, yes. Except that we're going to have less vehicles on there at this time. We are asking them to come back and put some hammerheads in there so they can maneuver out and come back at the final stage, but we'll be looking at that at the time of submittal.
And because it is a corner property, they are going to be held to the setbacks for a corner property?
Yes, the shorter side, as you can see, is Robert Roads. That is the front. The other, Dana, is an exterior side per the town code. So they would be able to do 10 feet there. Unfortunately, because of the logistics of the corner lot versus where a driveway can possibly go there, it would be an issue for people coming through there in order for them to have access off of Dana.
Gotcha.
So a hammerhead is backing up at an angle so that you can see traffic from left and right, is that correct?
Actually, a hammerhead will actually allow them to back into it and then come out, so they don't have to back out. They can go out forward and be able to see traffic coming.
Oh, okay, good. Would there, just as speculating, if there was, if we decided to expand Robert Road into a 3-lane, would this property be affected or would it be impacted?
I believe that there is curb gutter, I think, on that side of the street. And the property line is at the back of curb at this time, so we would have to encroach into the property, and we wouldn't be doing that. So, no, it wouldn't affect this property at all if we were to. And I'm looking at it here, and you can see the overlay. I can see the sidewalk. I don't really think we have the ability to expand Robert Road at that location without condemning property, and the town historically has not done that.
Okay, thank you.
Vice Mayor?
So, Fernando, it just popped into my head, and I should have talked to you ahead of time, but is there a way to just have one driveway in and do an easement or something
That is a great idea.
for the two parcels? You could still do the hammerhead on each side and then pull them out that way?
Yes, because it's the same owner for both properties, so we can suggest that.
I think I'd rather see that since it's so close to the corner.
It's a great idea. Thank you.
Fernando, just give me an idea. I'm sorry, where is Dana located at on Roberts Road?
Are you familiar with Sandy's Market on Robert Road where it used to be? Now it's a different gas station. There's also a Maya's Mercado
Right there.
across the street. This is actually right across the street from that. Let me go back to that slide. And you can see the PL, that's actually the park.
Right,
So it's right across, Dana Court is actually a dead-end road, and you see where, if you've been here a while, you know that commercial location where it's Maya's Market used to be an appliance store.
right.
So it's kitty corner to that.
gotcha, okay, now I know, okay, thank you.
I've been here a long time, so I see.
Is there any comments from the public in regards to this? I'll close the public hearing.
Mr. Mayor,
Hang on, we're going to entertain a motion. Make sure the motion has the stipulation that the vice mayor has advised in it, just so we're clear on that, and I don't know if we need anything else added to it.
So do you want me to make it?
If you would, just make the stipulation. Yeah, make the motion
Okay.
with your stipulation.
Motion to read ordinance number 2022-906, approving zoning map change ZMC 22-002 twice by title only on two separate occasions, then place the same on final passage, with the stipulation that there only be one driveway, shared access, still with hammerheads on both parcels by electronic vote.
And that would be a condition of zoning.
With that being said, can I have a second?
I'll second.
Clerk, please call the vote.
That passes unanimously, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ordinance number 2022-906. An ordinance of the mayor and common council of the Town of Prescott Valley, a municipal corporation of Arizona, amending the town zoning map CMC 22-002 to change the zoning classification of Prescott Valley Unit 2, lots 419 and 420, located at the northeast corner of Robert Road and Dana Drive from C1 Commercial Neighborhood Services zoning 2, RS, residential and services zoning, and providing that this ordinance shall be effective 30 days after its passage and approval according to law.
Thank you, ma'am. 7F, Final Development Plan, FDP 22-011, PVEC Phase 3, consideration and possible action. Mr. Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. This final development plan is for the Entertainment District. It's Five Guys and Jersey Mike's. It actually is located on Glassford Hill on the corner of Park Avenue in the Entertainment District Center. We actually had a long discussion with the Fains in regarding to the shared parking. They were displacing some parking for those locations, so they did, and I want to thank them, they did a comprehensive actually report of all the parking and the share. They actually have a surplus of parkings left over, even though we eliminate some of the parking for these two uses. You can see that the buildings themselves, the Five Guys is a 2,200 square foot building that's going to go in, and Jersey Mike's is stated at 1,200 square feet. You can see the lots that they put on there, the number of parking spaces required for each unit. They really went over and above to give us all the information we needed to update that area. We hadn't done a study like this for years, and for any future development within that area. It's important to point out that the Legato project that was approved initially was not part of this calculation. That actually self-parks on itself, and that would be over by where you see where Lot 7 is, kind of in that area. The Lot 7 actually is where it's talking about the parking right outside on Main Street. But in that area is where the Legato project is going to go. With that said, this is the rendition. It's good-looking buildings. There's, no opposition to this. It's congruent to our general plan. Staff is recommending approval of Final Development Plan 22011, and would be happy to answer any questions. I believe the representatives are here as well.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you to the Fains for doing that parking study. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you for asking for it, Fernando. I do like the architecture. I'm going to look forward to very lush landscaping on Park Avenue and Glassford Hill, different than these 5 trees I see on this draft site plan, because I don't want to see the drive-through when I drive by on Glassford.
And yes, we'll definitely be talking to them about that. We are in the midst of talking about abandoning or reselling some of that property leading into the parking lot on Park Avenue, and we'll make sure that we get some landscaping there as well.
Council, anything else? Entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign Resolution number 2022-2259, adopting Final Development Plan FDP 22-011 for PVEC Phase 3 by electronic vote.
I second.
Clerk, please call the vote.
Vice Mayor Hunt?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That passes unanimously, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Moving on. Energy Audit and Analysis Project, CIP number F512, consideration and possible action. Mr. Osborne, welcome back, sir.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Last week, we had a pretty extensive presentation, and so today I think we can keep this a little shorter and right to the point. We've already been working with Snyder Electric ever since they won the RFQ and they were chosen. We've had several meetings. They've really familiarized themselves with what we have here in the town. And what we're looking at today is just basically a professional service agreement for $138,000 that will do an in-depth audit, investment grade audit, as they call it, and identify areas where we can save money, we can invest in the town's infrastructure and get it to the point where we're saving money using LEDs and other ways of maximizing our energy usage and that type of thing. this 138,000, it doesn't, we don't ever pay for it if we move forward with their suggestions. And when we get to the construction part, we really convert to more of a construction manager at risk type of contract with them, where they will go in and they will run those projects for us. They will bring them, it's always on a maximum cost, no change orders allowed. So they'll go in and they'll do those things for us. So having worked with them, having really educated ourselves in how this works, all of the teams so far that I can see are in favor of moving forward with it, and that is our recommendation.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And Council, as you recall, we did have an extensive conversation last week in regards to this. So if there's any other questions for Mr. Osborne, now is the time. If not, we'll entertain a motion.
I have a real quick one, Bill. So this is actually going to save us money in the long run.
Yes. What happens is when we do come through, so we turn the library into a smart building so that we can control and use less electricity and heating and cooling and lighting and everything. That savings is identified. There is a sharing component with Schneider Electric that would come into play. They would share in that savings with us.
I wanted to comment about this last week. I noticed that Schneider Electric has been sponsoring some of the events in our community and investing in our community, and we so appreciate that.
With that, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve an agreement with Schneider Electric to conduct an investment-grade audit of town infrastructure and facilities by electronic vote.
I second.
Clerk, please call the vote.
That passes unanimously, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up, intergovernmental agreement, Prescott East Highway, or Prescott East Project, CIP number S518, consideration possible action. Mr. Davis, welcome, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. The item we have before you is an intergovernmental agreement, and what this is for is we've been working with the county over the last couple of years on a pavement rehabilitation project on Prescott East Highway from Highway 69 up to Antelope Lane. This is one of the historic corridors in the town, and the pavement is basically shot. It needs a complete rehab. What's interesting about this project is actually, depending on where you're at on this particular 4,000 feet of roadway, is about 25% of the road is actually in the town incorporated area, and the other 75% or three-quarters is actually in the unincorporated county section. So we were real successful in our Sunset Lane project with the county here. We cut a ribbon here about a year ago. This is an extenuation of rehabbing this existing pavement. So the county is actually the lead on this particular project with the design plans. The instrument you have before you tonight, the intergovernmental agreement, is just the agreement to talk about funding for this current scope, which is basically taking out and completely rehabilitating the existing pavement, putting down new 5 inches of asphalt. So this intergovernmental agreement is the instrument that says, okay, it's in the budget, it's in our current budget that's pending approval. So we've done a lot of work at staff in order to get things in place to identify the funding. So basically with the $3.5 million price tag, we would be roughly $950,000 for our proportionate share, which is, as you see, detailed on this particular exhibit. So this puts things into play. Talked with county staff this week. We've got 90% plans, so we're putting the final touches on the plans in order to move forward with putting this particular improvement in place and sending it out for bid. What I would like to do is advance the next slide. You know, we've heard lots of comment about this particular character, the road change. What you're looking at is a 50% set of plans that's included in your council packet. And you can see what's interesting here is some of the character that's going to change on Prescott East Highway is there's going to be 5 roundabouts put in at existing median breaks throughout the existing roadway. So to clip through some of this, you can see the roundabout areas there. That's a 1-lane roundabout. There's going to be 3 put in before Sunset Lane that we've called out. And between Sunset Lane and Antelope Lane, that 4,000 feet, there'll be 2 more, so it'll be 5 total. The only thing about roundabouts, the exciting thing about implementing these is you can't drive through them. It's going to attenuate speed. So they're basically spaced throughout that existing speed. You can't drive through them fast, especially a 1-lane roundabout. I don't know if you've ever cheated the 2-lane roundabouts where you've kind of used both lanes. You can't do that with 1 lane. So this has been a significant attention to physically attenuating speed, rather than using speed enforcement. You won't be able to move as much traffic on this road. We've talked in the past, we've got the Jasper Parkway to the west. That's a plan for a more, bigger corridor to move traffic. So you have Jasper Parkway and Glassridge. So this residential street, we're changing the character physically of the road, which is currently in the 15% plans, and we'll look forward to that. So just wanted to make those comments. So in short, it's staff's recommendation that we move forward with putting this instrument in place so we can move forward with sending this particular project out for bid probably in the next 60 days, and we look forward to completion of this mill and fill project and the installation of these roundabouts by late spring of '23. Be happy to take any comments you have at this time.
Mr. Davis, real quick, again, just to reiterate, how much is this project?
$3.5 million.
$3.5 million. How much was Sunset? Sunset. How much was that project?
About $6.5 million.
$6.5 million. How much was the sidewalk project on Starlight, or will be the sidewalk project?
That's neighborhood $850,000.
Okay, so we're close to $11 million in that area. So despite what some people may say, we've invested a lot of money into this area. So I just don't want the misconception out there that we're not spending any money, because every street in Prescott Valley is important. So
that's a good point, Mayor, and we really appreciate our partnership, not only the peer staff I have with the county. I deal with Dan Cherry, the Public Works Director, but also Supervisor Mary Mallory, that's helped support that to make sure that there's projects and, county funding on these joint projects, that it benefits, residents as a whole. A lot of residents may not understand where the actual boundary lines are. They just want good infrastructure maintained, and that's what we do.
Nope, great project.
Oh, I have a question as well. So if we're putting in these, you said 5 roundabouts through, and that's spaced out through the entire length of Prescott East Highway? They're not all on just the property that the town has, right? It's throughout county area as well, correct? So they'll be
Correct.
spaced out?
So that's the existing median breaks. You see the breaks in the median out there, so you can see them called out here. There was 2 median breaks closer to, Highway 69 where they were very close together. So there's 6 median breaks, 5 of them are going to get roundabouts, and the other one will be, closed up.
That would also eliminate all the need for any kind of speed bumps to slow down drivers?
We'd like to think so, because there's, this is, current design, what you do, and you space these out. The industry standard is, the design criteria that we follow is you put them about every 600 to 700 feet. So with 4,000 feet divided by 5, do the math, you're in about that realm to slow down traffic. It is important to point out too, Sunset Lane, what's proposed there is not a roundabout, but you can see we don't have a southbound turn lane there. So that's going to be added for access, better safe access and storage for vehicles, making that particular left-hand turn. In addition, another thing that we're excited about as engineers is as you come off of 69 going northbound, you really have to make that merge into that 1 lane by the frontage road. So you can see the widening that's going on there. So there is a little bit of widening and, some capital investment, but that will take you up to Copper Hill. So we look for that to move, traffic more efficiently and safety, and give you that particular weaving capability to make your choice for some of those commercial properties, the school in there and the Circle K. So there is some upgrades, and the county's done a real good job, in my opinion, with the design, with our input.
That would be really helpful right there by the Circle K especially, because I know it gets real congested with the 2 turn lanes off of the Highway 69 onto Prescott East Highway there. And then also I know that it would help for the people that need to access their homes with the roundabouts. It'd make it easier access, because I know that median's very long, and then they have to go down, turn around, and come back to get into some of those properties. So that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Some of the character is being retained, but we're making some upgrades to get it, better service level for this residential street in the areas.
Vice Mayor?
Mr. Mayor Norm, I appreciate the traffic calming on this road. I think it's going to be one of the best-looking roads in Prescott Valley when it's done. But I want to make sure that the roundabouts, much like what they are in our packet, are treated with hardscape.
Correct.
Because they look like they're going to be treated with hardscape.
Yeah, concrete's going to go in
That's the plan,
there.
even though this is 50%.
Correct.
Okay, cool.
You're looking at a 15%, we called them, but they're actually a little more than that, in my opinion. But yes, we've got 90, so we'll make sure there's hardscape in between those particular roundabout areas.
Thank you.
Councilwoman?
So, Norm, what is the actual length of the street?
We're
From-
4,000 feet if you look back at this first, from Highway 69 up to Antelope Lane.
So what you're saying is, will these be, these 5 roundabouts, will they be evenly distributed?
Not particularly because there are existing median openings that are in place today. So each one of these roundabout locations, there's a median break now that you could cut through. So when you look at this particular area there at Lancelot, you'd be able to drive through the median there today. So that's why they've cited them there, to not really change anything that's not in place today. You can see Jouster's Avenue there. That's the one example where there's, I believe there's a median break that there's going to be so close to the Lancelot roundabout, there's no reason to put 2 roundabouts that close.
I see.
So each one of these areas, you can see, has an existing median break.
So I'm not quite sure what Lori asked about the roundabouts. Was that the landscaping or the design?
Yeah, just that they're hardscaped, you see on this. They're hardscaped and they're not dirt.
I see.
The weeds can grow.
Oh, I see, okay. I was just, this is kind of a fringe question, but is any reason why we can't change the name from Prescott East Highway? Because it does indicate it's a highway, and it's, what you're saying is that this will eventually be, and it already is really, a residential street, but it, has been brought up in previous conversations.
It has, Councilwoman, with Manager Davidson's support. We actually met with the county staff, development services, and we've got that. I'm cooperating with Fernando Gonzalez, too, that there is a procedure involved, but we've started that particular process here last week in order to take a look at changing the name to what
Really?
residents would like. So the county is taking the lead on that, but they will. We talked about a joint letter go out. They said in about 2 weeks that will say, "Dear resident, would you be willing to change the name? Yes or no? And if so, here's some suggestions. Parkway Boulevard rather than Highway, Parkway
yeah.
Boulevard Lane, whatever they desire, and it will go to each particular property owner there. I think that we've got, 140, I think. And keep in mind, that would change the name from south of 69, where the Elks Lodge is, all the way up to actually Granville Fairway and the Granville subdivision. So at both ends, south of 69, there's really no addresses there. And there's not many in Granville because there's no houses fronting there, so there's a few addresses, but probably about 120 residents that are existing would see that change. And to be honest with you, I think there's going to be an other, if they don't like Prescott East, whatever it's going to be, you want something different, so they'll have that opportunity. If the neighbors get together and said, we want Davis Lane, just off the top of my head, we'd think of something, they'd have that option. So once again, working with those existing residents to see what they would like to see that roadway name, what we'd speculate.
So there's a lot of work going on that road. So,
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Councilman?
Hey, Norm, one quick question. You said you're going to put 5 inches of new asphalt down, correct? So we're taking 5 up first, is that right? We're not going 5 on top of what we already have, are we? Or how does that work?
No, that pavement shot. So a good technology is you reuse that particular asphalt and mill it into the base, and
Right.
it just gives you more structural stability.
Right.
So that's what the county's plan has been, is to actually mill that particular material into the existing base, sweeten it up a little bit, and then add to the top of that.
Another 5 on top of that then?
Right. And keep in mind that existing pavements worked well for the traffic loadings, but county's done some counts. We have around 6,000 vehicles a day on that road, so that will help support the traffic loadings that we have now.
Okay, thank you.
Councilwoman?
One more question, too. Do you know how many of these roundabouts will then have access to go to Jasper Parkway?
Basically none.
None.
None of those? Okay, that's what I was concerned about, too. Thank you.
Right now, Jasper Parkway, if you look on our general plan, the only access would be at Sunset is the only connection point.
Right.
So as you look, I forget which here, but you can see where Sunset Lane is there. As you go further to the west, that would be the only connection point to Jasper Parkway.
Right.
So there'd only be, basically a connection at Santa Fe, Sunset, and at Copper Hill,
Okay,
there at
thank
the
you.
Stone Ridge
This
Drive.
question doesn't would deal with that then. Is there any time frame? It's not on this issue, but is any time frame on Jasper Parkway?
My understanding is quick as they can get the plans turned around. We looked at 90% plans. We've turned comments back. So once they get the return set of plans, we have good optimism that plan is 100% approved by the town. and Jasper can move forward with construction.
So that should happen yet this year, you think?
I'm anticipating the next couple of weeks, that could be that turnaround. It was
Okay.
a comprehensive set of plans. You know, it's a two-lane road at this
Right.
particular point, but
Okay.
that's
And-
been in the
I'm
plans.
sorry, Mr. Davis, and just to be clear on that, the developer of Jasper is not even required to do Jasper Parkway at this point in time due to the number of homes they have not built yet. And they've actually preemptively gone ahead and chosen to build the road, not because there's no obligation for them to do so at this time. Is that correct?
They're on pace to get there soon, depending on house sales. So that,
Sure.
in the development agreement, if I recall, is about 700 house lots, and I think they're at 500 now. So
Just trying to damper down misconceptions, that's all.
and what's important to note, too, this particular portion of Jasper Parkway is all on the developer's funding. So that particular 2 miles of road that they're going to build from basically Santa Fe now to the connection point of Copper Hill is about 2 miles of road. And if I was to ballpark it, that's probably $10 to $12 million improvement.
At this time, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the mayor, or in his absence, the vice mayor, to sign an intergovernmental agreement with Yavapai County for construction of the Prescott East Project, CIP number S518, in the amount of $901,490.40 by electronic vote.
I
Second it.
Oh, clerk, please call the vote.
That passes unanimously, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. And before we get to the last item, I did skip over item 5, and I didn't want Mr. Judy to feel like he showed up and didn't have anything to do. So is there anything you'd like to report, sir?
Could have waited till the end. Only items I had is you have before you the May Council Monthly Report. I would encourage you to look through there. That it has been uploaded to the Prescott Valley websites for our residents to view. Lots of good information in there. Thank you to Mr. Cutter Chamberlain for getting that going. Also, a bit of good news, the Will House is hosting their first state tournament this weekend.
Good.
So teams from all over the state will be coming in to play for a championship. So we look forward to hosting all those families coming into Prescott Valley.
Awesome, great news. Now we're moving up. Final item. Saving the best for last, right, sir? OMI's FY 22-23 Amendment Number 3.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. This evening, the Utilities Department is bringing forward the Amendment Number 3 to the Jacobs 5-year contract. But before I get going, I know we went in depth through the presentation last week at work study. Would you like to just jump to the summary page?
Yes, sir.
All right. So this is this is the Amendment Number 3 for the 5-year contract. Basically, we negotiate with Jacobs for the base fees, and this year we negotiated a 6.8% increase on the base fees, and that covers things like labor, fuel, and things like that. That's an increase total on the base fees from $4.1 million to about $4.4. It's $281,000. And then the next section is the reimbursable items, and that's at 2.2, and those are basically just the pass-throughs, wastewater repairs, water repairs, things of that nature, biosolids, the things that are hauled off from the wastewater treatment plant. And then the third section of the contract is the additional services projects. Those are things that change every year. We have a different list of projects, and we work with Jacobs on those. That falls really into their expertise and purview as far as the operations and maintenance and the projects that go along with it. And that total amount is $8.5 million for that contract value. And that's really all I've got.
Yes.
Summarizing, I'd be happy to take any questions that you might have.
I think we also went into depth on this last week as well, so. Council, do you have any additional questions?
Scott, thank you for the presentation. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, Scott, thank you for the presentation. I just want to thank Jacobs again. I see you guys everywhere in town. I see you volunteering in parades and everything. You are a true extended staff part of our town, and I really appreciate you.
Yeah, Vice Mayor Hunt, yeah, I'm going to echo that. I get up here and I do these presentations all the time, and that's one thing I haven't done. And I rub shoulders with these guys at Jacobs all the time, weekly at the different sites with the with all the different employees. They're around 32 employees, and yeah, they do a great job, very professional, and they work hard, and
With that, Mr. Mayor, I would like to make a motion to approve Amendment 3 to the agreement with CH2M Hill OMI Jacobs, the town utilities operations, maintenance and management agreement in the amount of $8,549,067 by electronic vote.
I second it.
Clerk, please call the vote.
That passes unanimously, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Last item.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Clerk, please call the vote.
That passes unanimously, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks, everyone, for coming out.